Good morning. I thought I wouldn't have to be nervous up here today, but I am a little bit. It might go over soon. So anyways, a little bit about what the things that I work on and the things that I work with. I'm going to start off with myself, and then I'm going to talk about the team. In all this, even when I say I, that's not I, it is God. God that does the work, and He has done an amazing job with helping people. And this whole thing started that I'm doing. I'm working with people that are addicted with drugs, alcohol, or any sorts of addictions. And it started off, I think it's probably about 3.5 years ago, or maybe even 4 years ago. When my brother-in-law, John Fair, he was so very deeply into drugs. And I was talking to a pastor in the States, and I was kind of trying to figure out how I could help this brother, how I would be able to help him. And he kept on telling me, you don't need to help him. It's God that's going to do it. You just need to be there for him. You just need to show him that you're there for him. So I continuously doing that, and it went on, and it went on. There is so many times I completely gave up on him. I said, that's enough. I'm done. I'm out of here. And it just kept going like that, and then we started coming to church over here. We got John and Susan Dyke involved, and then they found Joshua House, and then we tried to get John to go there. Not a chance. There was just no way. John didn't want to. And then all of a sudden he came right down to where he had no choice. And that's where it started with Joshua House, and then we started working with John, and he still wouldn't go. And then we had another fellow. He went before John, and he is actually working there right now. So now I'm going to talk about the team a little bit. So Cornelius Penner, he actually contacted me a couple weeks after we found out about Joshua House and that he knew that I knew about it. He contacted me and he said he needed some information and he wanted to send a person over there. And that was this person that I'm going to be talking about here shortly. And then there's Ben Fair. Cornelius Penner, he's still going to the All Colony Church, and we are working together on this. And then there's Ben Fair. Also, he is a guy that is just a brother that is just, he loves helping people, and he has a big heart in people like that too that are going through hard times. And he's been a good help as well, and he's been helping a lot of people. And we also have another brother that came in there too. His name is John Clausen, and he's also going to the Old Colony. Well, their home church is at the Old Colony, I should say. And same thing with Cornelius Penner. Their home church is there, but they're going to different churches. So I have a little picture, some pictures here that I want to show. This is Cornelius, Ben Fair, and John Clausen. Those two, I wasn't able to get a picture from them. I didn't have enough time. But it's been great working with these guys. And these guys here, they have, they also have 3 guys that they're working with. And the guys that they're working with, it's not easy. It's been very, very hard for them. So, and just to make it go a little bit faster here, I'm just gonna go right to the next person that we worked on. That was this is. I know the pictures are not very clear here. I asked Peter Gunther about this, and this is Peter Gunther here. This is the very first person that went to Joshua House. This person was Peter Gunther. He was trying everything and anything, and he was down as far as it could be. He didn't care about his life anymore. He was done. The first time I went and visited him, I encouraged him. He was going through a withdrawal right at the moment, and we encouraged him to go. But Cornelius and Ben, those two have worked with him already from before already, and it just didn't. And you're going to hear it throughout the time that sometimes I have tried to help a person and I couldn't do nothing. And then Ben Fair or even Cornelius, they stepped in and they were able to help. And the next one is just the other way around. It takes different people to help different people. On the picture there, you're probably wondering, what's he got in his mouth there? This is sad. Those are actually needles. And this is where he was at the farthest down, where he wanted just to give everything up. The second one was taken a couple of days after that. And he allowed me to share these. He sent them to me. He allowed me. Any of these pictures that are on here, they allowed me to share these. There too, he was just right down, and he didn't even know what to do anymore. So I'm going to show you some pictures on what he looks like now. Man, he is working at Joshua House right now. He has a heart for people. He has a way of speaking to people to just love them, just to show them that, you know what, we are here for you. There's nothing I can do for you, but there's something that God can do for you. But maybe I can be an encouragement to you. And that's what he is. And that's what the whole team, what we all are. And then the second one is John Fair, because Peter Gunther went there first, but we work with John Fair first. This is John Fair. I remember very closely when he took this picture. The one to the left there, that was before. That one on the right, that was after, when he got back. This is where John Fair, he was pretty much, he didn't even care. He just, and I went over there and I visited him so many times, and I didn't even talk to him anything about his drugs. All I wanted to do is just go there and just be there, just to show him that if he ever wants to talk or anything, that I'm available for him. So, but it dragged on for a long time, but thank God that he got out of it. That's his son that's there with him. Can you just imagine that son, what he would be like right now if it wasn't for John changing? They hated his dad so terribly badly. His wife hated him. They hated each other. It was a horrible house. There was just fighting and fighting and fighting. So John did decide, he decided to go to Joshua House, and he went there, and he went almost his whole term, almost 3 months. He comes back, he got saved there, he comes back, his whole family is saved. Praise the Lord for that. I'm so glad that he has changed. There's another one where he was actually at Joshua House about a month ago, I think. About a month ago, that when he was there. And to say John Fair has been clean now for 2 years and 4 months. It may not seem like a long time, but it is a long time. When you're in the drugs and stuff like that, you don't care about time. But when it comes to something like this, you care about time a lot more. And then there was also Tony Fair. He got involved with John Fair as well, which is his brother. We all got together and we helped him, and we brought him to Joshua House. And when he came back, he changed. He was a completely different person. So after he got back, he's been clean for 2.5 months, or 2 months, or 2 years and 4 months. Okay, now I'm going to be talking about another guy. His name is Jake Gunther, which is Peter Gunther's brother, his older brother, Jake. This man also, he lost his family. He couldn't come home anymore. He was just right down to nothing. He had nothing. And there too, it was a very sad home. I had not much to do with him. That was just mostly Cornelius and Ben Fair that were working with him. But then when he came back, we are as a group, we're together, we help each other out, and I have gotten to know him, and it's been amazing to see the changes that he has made. This one here is before he went to Joshua House, and this one here is after. And this brother too, he has changed, and he's been clean out for 1 year and 9 months. He has his own business. He's got his family back. He's at home, and he loves his family. And he says, man, if I would have known this before, I would have changed before already. Yeah, he's been a great help to us. He's been been very encouraged. He's been encouraging others. Then there's another person. I don't have a picture of him, but his name is Isaac Peters. He works at Salford. He's in the Langton area. Isaac Peters as well. He was an alcoholic, very, very bad. And it's something that he couldn't get out of it either. And I don't even think that he really wanted to get out of it in certain ways because he lost his family as well. But then all of a sudden he decided he was going to change his life. So he decided to go to Joshua House, and same thing. He has been clean now for 9 months. And it's been amazing to see him growing, and that he is just going to church. And he doesn't have his family back yet, but he's working on it. And it seems like it's going to be happening soon that he can be back with his family again. And praise the Lord for that. And then there's also another person. I don't have a picture of him either. It's Neil Fair. Neil Fair also. He's been an alcoholic for many years. I spoke to him. We had a barbecue. I think 3 weeks ago we had a barbecue. And I spoke to him there, and I asked him if I could speak about this, and he said he would not mind that at all. And this Neil Fair, that is actually Liz's uncle, Henry Liz's uncle. And I didn't work with him too much either. I know Henry called me a couple of times and asked me for some information. But when he came back, of course, he tells me that same thing, that he's been clean for 9 months, and I hope that he can stay there. And he's back with his family. He lost his family as well. And he's back with his family, but he still has lots of court. There's still lots of work to do with him yet. I'm not sure yet how that's all gonna work out. There's another person here. His name is Abram Geertsen. I don't have nothing to do with him, but Cornelius Penner and Ben Fair, they're working with him. He has not gone to Joshua House. We're working with him just alone because he just doesn't want to go, and he had offered that we would help him, and maybe he could get off of it. And then he said if he all of a sudden couldn't, then he would go to Joshua House then. And we hear that all the time. We hear that a lot. And this guy too, the picture, that one there's from before, that one there's after. And I talked to Cornelius about that, and Cornelius said that he's doing very good. He says as far as he can see that he's gonna pull through. And I'm very, very glad that he decided to take him on. And he lives in the Leamington area, and sometimes people, when they live farther away, it's a lot harder to work with them, especially when you have a full-time job. And so I don't have too much about him. There's another fellow right there, Henry Unger. It was a little while ago, I think it's probably about 5 months ago, there was a men's encounter here in Elmer area, a men's encounter, and I was there, I was serving. He came there as an attendee, and he was actually in my cabin, and I had no idea. I didn't know anything about him. He was quiet. He didn't trust no one. He wouldn't say nothing to no one. And so I didn't think much. And then later on, I found out that Cornelius Penner and Ben Fair had been working with him already as well before this. And so after the men's encounter, right away that Monday, he called me and he says to me that he is very tempted. And I didn't know what he was tempted on. I did not know that he had any problems. So I asked him, "What's going on? What do you need?" And then he says, "Well, I'm tempted to go back to my drugs again." And I'm like, "Oh boy, this is not good." And then I asked him, "So do you what do you mean you're tempted? Do you have it, or you want to go get it, or what is it?" Then he says to me, "No, I have it in the shed, but I don't dare myself to go there. But I am very tempted to go there." And I was able to help him and to just say to him, "Don't go back there." Then he says, "Well, I need somebody to come and clean it up now." I'm like, "Whoa, I'm in London, I'm at work, and I can't just get off of work just like that, and just to go and take somebody's drugs." And so I kept on the phone with him all day. And this was at 9 o'clock in the morning when he did that. And I WhatsApped him, I called him, messaged him, just for him to distract him to not go back there. then I said to him, as soon as I get home, I'll be there, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to take that from you. And I did. And I'm not thinking, I thought, just a little bit. There's probably not going to be much drugs that he has or whatever. I didn't think of much. I get there, we talk for a little bit. Oh boy, was I in for a shocker. And I was there by myself. I was going to take somebody else with me, but he didn't have time. Something came up. But I went there myself. When I went onto that property, it felt like that I was being attacked. It was scary. It felt so scared because he was not just, his problem was not just the drugs. It was demons. Like he was scared. And not just that, even the family were saying that there was things going on that property, and I'm like, ooh, boy, this is way beyond what I can do here. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do my best at least to get rid of this drugs. And then we'll talk then. So I did. He took me into the shed. Whoa. He had a bag full, like 3 different bags full. And I don't even know what he all had in there, but he had from all sorts. I grabbed it. I put it in the back of my truck. He cleaned out his shed. And he says, I don't want to do this anymore. So that's when I offered him. I said to him, would you maybe consider going to Joshua House? And then he says, no, not really. He didn't really want to go. And then I told him about John Fair. I said, John Fair had been there. And then I asked him, would you want to talk to him? And he said, yeah, he would love to talk to him. So then I called John Fair, and John Fair came right away. So John Fair went there, and I went away. Because the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to get rid of that drugs first before I did anything with him. And so John Fair went there, and he talked to him, and he was able to get him to go to Joshua House. And then he did. I think 3 days after that, he went to Joshua House. And he was there again for, I think for 2 weeks. He was there. He took off. Ooh, boy, was that ever hard. That he took off from there. And then John Fair decided, no way, that's not going to happen. So he went out there. So John Fair went out there, and he found him in Chilliwack. He found him, and he was able to convince him to go back, and he is still there. He called me 2 weekends ago. He called me. He says to me, George, you have no idea what you guys have done to me. You have no idea how thankful I am that I was able to go back to Joshua's, because I know I would have fallen right back, or if not worse, than what I was before. So praise the Lord for that too, that he was able to go back. And then Peter Gunther, he sent me that. God is doing amazing work in Henry's life. I have no doubt that it is because of all the prayers. Read James 5:16. Thank you, all of you. And he's talking about the whole team. When we are getting together and we are talking to each other and we pray for each other, I tell you that we know that we can do good with those kind of guys. There's more people that I could talk about in here about this whole thing from when they have started, but there's not enough time for all that. But there's also guys that I can't mention their names in here, so I can't mention anything about them. There's been a lot of guys that I have tried to help, but it didn't work out. They just weren't ready yet, and they're still suffering out there. There's another fellow that I've been working with for a long time as well. He went also to Joshua House. I'm not going to mention his name. And he stayed there for the whole term. He comes back. 2 days after he come back, he's right back into it again. He's right back into the crystal meth, the worst stuff that's out there. I was so sad, and it made me so angry that he would have done that. And it made me wonder why. But then last November, he had decided to stop it, and he stopped it on his own. So he's telling me that from November, he has been clean. His brother passed, I think about a month ago. His brother passed in Mexico. He was also addicted, and he killed himself right in front of his family, shot himself down. He was there just 2 weeks before that in Mexico with him. Yeah, that's very sad. That's another topic that we can maybe talk about after sometime yet too. So now I'm just going to show you some things as well that I see when I worked in London. There's a guy there walking with, it looks like there's somebody else maybe carrying the other cart, but he's just got a rope on there. He's a homeless guy. Talked to him for a bit. He said he loves this life. He's like, I would never change. I want to stay like this. I asked him, what brought you to this? What brought you to this, being homeless like this? He says, drugs. Most of the homeless people that I talk to, they became homeless because of drugs. Now the question is, why do you start doing drugs? Why did they start doing drugs? But there's only so much time that you can talk to them before you got to go back to work, right? There's two guys over there, probably see it. Both of them sleeping there. And this is at 9:30 in the morning. We start work at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. We have our machines going there full blast. It's loud, honking. These guys don't even wake up. They are so high, they don't even wake up for nothing. There was a van that came there and brought them food. These guys, they were like almost jumping into the van. But they were being very selfish as well. The guy there in the yellow, I talked to him a little bit too, and he stayed there the whole time. He stays there every day. So every day when we go there, he's always there. And it almost seems like that he's protecting something, but I can't really see what he is protecting, but he's watching over something. But yeah, it's so very sad to see when people are like that and they're just getting into drugs like that, and then they live like that, the life that they live. That guy there with the two carts, I asked him, hey, where are you going? Like, what are you doing with all this stuff here? He's like, oh, I got kicked off from my other site where I was staying at. I gotta find a new place to stay. And I said, any idea where you're going? Any idea where you're gonna find this place? He's like, I don't know. We'll see. I'll go to the end of the day, get high, stay right there. He's like, what else? There's nothing out there anyways. Yeah, very sad. Another picture I'm going to show you, that's when I went to Joshua House, when I met Peter Gunther for the first time. That's when he just started working there. And yeah, he was working in food at that time. Another one there, when I was there, I seen those mountains over there. I just thought it was kind of neat to kind of just see this. Yeah, it was already not cold, but we seen the snow up there. Now these folks here, these are the folks that are actually working with the addicts. I don't know her name, but his name is Richard, and he's the owner of that facility, of that whole thing there. And he always tells me that you can't help people they have to do that themselves with God. If they do it themselves, or if you try to help them and you want to do it on your own, he's like, it'll never work. You need to do that through God. And these people here, they know the gospel, and they preach the gospel, and this rehab that they are at Joshua House, it is very Christian based. And they are going through programs. They're not just being there and just, that's it. Like just be there and just wait it off for the 3 months or 4 months or whatever they're there. They have to work hard. They're going through a 12-step program. That 12-step program, by the time they're through that, they have learned a lot. And I'm sure that all the guys that have been there, they would be able to share a lot about that, what those 12 steps are all about and everything. So this is kind of the work that we do, and we do work together. There's another guy in Leamington now that is starting to work with people like that too. We haven't been in contact with him. Cornelius has a little bit, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So we're going to see how that's going to go, that we're going to have more people from farther out, that we don't have to go so far. Now, Joshua House, right, as of 3 weeks ago, Joshua House had 102 people, 102 men that are at their facilities at both. There's only two facilities, right? Yeah, 2. So at both facilities, there was 102 people. And 15 out of them are Mennonites. that are from the Ontario area. Actually, there's some, maybe some from Alberta as well. And there again, there's guys that I have helped to go to Joshua House that I haven't even seen. I haven't even seen them. It was all just been done over the phone. There's people that have, they absolutely have any money at all to go there. Then there's times where we have to kind of help them pay their tickets to get there, and stuff like that. And sometimes it's easy, other times it's very hard. I know my wife sometimes has said, you know what, maybe I should just stop that, and I have said that myself plenty of times, that I should stop that I should just give that up. But then every time when I say that, it's pretty much the next day or that next week there's another person contacting me that needs help, and that tells me that maybe I shouldn't. But it does get frustrating sometimes, especially when you have to stay up late and when you have to, deal with these people, and not just dealing with these people, dealing with families around them, where the family is pretty much attacking you, saying, you got to help this guy now. But they don't understand that we need to be patient with these kind of people. Because a lot of people, they think that, just get them to go to Joshua House. And if you force them to go to Joshua House and they take off from there, what are you going to do? So now, because there's already 3 young men that are in Chilliwack, homeless, where their parents are here. One in Listowel. Oh, no, the one in Listowel is probably back already, but I think he's back already. So there's 2 other ones. We don't know anything about them. We have no idea what's happening to them. They're getting into the law, they're getting in trouble with the police and all that. And then when you sent them over there, and then they take off from there, and then they become homeless, it's like, yeah, that's not a very good feeling. It makes it very, very hard. And especially when the parents call you yet and say, hey, have you heard? No. Have you heard? No. And then it stays quiet for a while. Then you ask them, hey, have you heard from your son? No, we haven't heard nothing yet. And when months and months like that go by and you haven't heard anything, that makes it very, very hard. But I try to tell them every time that this is not a jail. This is a thing. It is your choice. And if you want help, you will get help. But if you're being forced to go there and you just take off, it's almost pointless. A person has to come down to the ground first, or has to come all the way down first before he can get any help. I hope this whole thing made sense. I know a lot of times when I speak, it doesn't make sense. Anybody have any questions? I'd love to hear if anybody has anything. And if you know of anybody that needs any help, that doesn't mean that me, Cornelius, Ben, or John would help them. They can do it themselves. Look it up. Go right on Google. Go Joshua House, BC. Look it up. All the information is there. The intake call, there's phone numbers, there's website, there's emails. If you know of anyone, just send them that information. Send them that. Tell them, here, there is help out there. You don't need to live like this. And there's absolutely no reason to live like this. So thanks for listening, and hope it made sense.
George, one question or one thought I had, we originally wanted to bring, if John Paris okay with it, we wanted to bring over here locally, but we decided to go to Joshua House. Remember that?
That's right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that a little bit. So here, we want to do it here in London, but he was supposed to be there for a whole year. And there, it was a jail. Like, he cannot get out. He cannot talk to his family. He Zippo. He has to be there by himself. Nobody can visit him or nothing. I think it's for 9 months, or is it for 10 months, that you cannot have any contact whatsoever. And then after that, you can start having contact. So we looked into that quite a bit, and John did not agree with that, and I didn't even think that was maybe not the greatest idea. And that's where John and Susan found BC, and that's how we ended up. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, and like a lot of them are going to BC now instead of locally.
That's right.
There's a safer way to do it so that they can't just come here and be in their familiar territory.
That's right.
And then that's why the BC one has really gotten a lot of people from Ontario, the way I understand it.
Yeah, and because of them, they have it's a 3-month program. So in those 3 months, there is so much information that's been put into them, and there's so much being prayed onto them and helped them with all that. A lot of them, they pull through, but a lot of them, they don't even. You think that, oh yeah, they're doing good, and then guess what? All of a sudden, they turn 90 degrees, they go back to square one, they're doing the same thing as what they did before. Anybody else? Well, thank you for listening.